going to be speaking from the entertaining speaker manual. Number 3, Make Them Laugh. It's a 5 to 7 minute presentation tonight. Being it is a fan for food, especially Chinese food, and she finds that not all Chinese food in the United States is authentic. So she's seen that there's been some tweaks and it's been Americanized, and she's going to share some of her thoughts on this. And the title of her speech tonight, A Bite of China in the U.S. Americanized. Good evening, everyone. 6 years ago, when I was about to come here alone in the United States, what worried my mom most was how I can live on burgers and fries, and how I can survive from American food, because all we knew at that time was KFC and McDonald's, and that was the most popular food American food in China at that time. So after that, I decided to have a 1 month of training on cooking with my mom and my grandpa in order to survive this. And after I came to the United States, the first city I stayed in was Los Angeles. And I surprisingly discovered that there were so many Chinese restaurants around in the area. And in fact, there was even one Chinese fast food restaurant in my school cafeteria called Panda Express. Panda, right? How Chinese is that? And I went to try it. I found the meat and the vegetables was cut in such big pieces. And on top of it, it was a thick layer of sour and sweet sauce. And I feel weird. I thought, this is not Chinese food. This is not authentic. This is not how we eat Chinese food. But when I looked around, I see so many people waiting in line just for getting that food. And I thought, well, although it's not authentic, people love it here in the United States. So is there any authentic Chinese food in the United States? Of course there is, especially in big cities like San Francisco, New York, Los Angeles, where most Chinese settle. And their taste is pretty authentic. Although I'm not a big fan for the Americanized Chinese food whose flavor was twisted, I understand the needs why people need them here. Because if you think about it, some Chinese food, when they smell, they look, and they taste very exotic. For example, in 2011, CNN ranked one of Chinese dishes as the most gross food in the entire world. And they call it century eggs. This is duck egg, and with special treatment they turn black, and you can have a little flour on top, and they do taste weird. I hated it when I was a little kid, but now I love it. And I also think it's unfair to call it century eggs, because it doesn't take a century to make them turn black. I noticed there are a few things that may make a difference between authentic Chinese dishes and Americanized versions. The first one being ingredients. In China, we don't like to use the pre-packaged, the sauce, sour, sweet sauce into your cooking. Instead, we use the raw ingredients, ginger, green onion, garlic, and specific Chinese ingredients. Sometimes you can put as many as 20 ingredients into your cooking to have the rich flavor. And the second is preparation. And if you have ever eaten Chinese food, you know Chinese are used to use chopsticks to eat your food. We're not used to eat our food with knives and forks, but we're not used to cutting meat when it's ready to eat. Therefore, before cooking, you chop everything into very small pieces, and the flavor will become into the meat and the vegetables, and that's how we use chopsticks. And the third is eating habits. In China, when we have a large dinner with our friends and families, we sit around a big table and we order a lot of dishes and we share them together. And here I notice people like to order their own dishes, and if you want to share, you can share your own, but people basically keep their own dishes. I think that may make a difference in authentic Chinese versus Americanized Chinese. So therefore, I really admire the people who took the challenges of adjusting and Americanizing the flavor, the cooking method to adapt to the local communities. Because it's very different. There's a gap between what Chinese people like and American people like. I think this challenge was more for the early immigrants in China. And if you think about going back 100 years, there were not many Chinese people living in the US. And if you want to have a restaurant business and to survive in the local markets, you will have to make the change and make your food adapt to people who have different taste buds. And that means you will have to change the traditional flavor. And whatever the effort was, the Chinese food began known to the world. And in the past few decades, the number of Chinese immigrants and newcomers from China has been soaring, especially here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And a lot of Chinese people, including the picky foodies like me, who really push and help and stimulate the Chinese food, this industry, to grow and get closer and closer to the authenticity. And also, the early Chinese immigrants, most of them were from a few specific Chinese regions in the south, Guangdong province. But now, newcomers are from every corner of China. So in a small plaza in Milpitas, you can easily find noodles from Xi'an, and baozi from Shanghai, and dim sum from Guangdong province. And you can always find a great food where in San Francisco, in Oakland, in Palo Alto, in Fremont, where great Chinese food always go with large Chinese communities. And as a foodie, when I'm not at home, I enjoy everything. I love pasta, burritos, I love tacos, burgers, sushi. But when I'm exhausted from full day of events, I crave the pure Chinese flavor, and I want something flavor that's so familiar to me that can remind me of my own country thousands of miles away. And that's what the Americanized version of Chinese dishes cannot give me.